Are you ready for the sexiest and wildest party you've ever seen? Well, presenting Zombies Gone Wild.
These decrepit old zombies are ready to party.
I'm finally 18.
So what are you waiting for? Call now for some hot necrophilia.
Zombies Gone Wild.
These corpses can't wait to expose themselves, so call today.
Zombies Gone Wild.
Jeffrey Leach burned in the fires of hell. He had no knowledge of time. He could have been in perdition for 30 seconds or 30,000 years. All he knew was the agony of his soul's unending torment. Like flesh, it was vulnerable to damage and pain. It tore and bled and burned. But unlike flesh, it regenerated as quickly as it was destroyed. Sometimes the fires relented, giving Jeffrey and the other damned a darkness to lie and smoulder in, to weep and howl and regret, to repent and beg the forgiveness of a God that could no longer hear them. Demons prowled these smoking catacombs, passing through fire and brimstone unharmed, their souls, or whatever it was that formed their substance, seemingly impervious to heat and pain. They came and took their pleasure in the torture and abuse of their charges. They were the masters of hell, and the damned were theirs to play with. Jeffrey's master was known still by the name he had borne in life. It lacked the classic demonic cadences of the names of some of his peers, but the mention of it brought as much horror and dread to those he preyed upon as might any other name in the ancient registers of hell. It was Clive. Clive liked to hear his name twisted in screams and whimpered in pleas for mercy. He would occasionally take a moment's rest from his labours, specifically to hear the music of the misery he created, and to his ears the most enjoyable music of all issued from Jeffrey Leach. Jeffrey, when he wasn't making said music, would wonder in dread and awe how Clive and his kind had come about. Evidently, Clive had once been mortal. So how had he attained his demonic form and position? Why didn't he suffer? Why didn't he burn? After all, wasn't this hell? Weren't they all supposed to be suffering? And now, on the occasion of our story's beginning, Jeffrey has finally found the courage to ask. Clive had been torturing Jeffrey for some time and was taking a break from his exertions when the object of his pleasure reached out a trembling hand to him. "Please, Clive, my master, I beg you, stop." Clive laughed. He sank his burning talons into the soft, sizzling flesh of Jeffrey's face and twisted it up to face him. "What is it, wretch? Do you tire of my attention?" "No, master. I beg of you, if I may, a question. One question." "A question?" Clive smiled, baring rows of pointed teeth. "How interesting. What makes you think I'd answer it?" Jeffrey stammered, struggling to speak in spite of the burning talons in his face. "I have no hope that you will, master. I only beg that you might consider." Clive did consider for a moment. Then he said, "Very well, little shit man.
But be warned, there is nothing you can ask of me that will bring you anything other than unspeakable pain.
Geoffrey tried to nod. I know, my master, and I humbly accept it.
Very well, then.
Clive withdrew his talons from Geoffrey's face and licked the hot blood from his fingers.
Ask.
Geoffrey knew that unspeakable pain was going to be administered anyway, so he raised his eyes as far as he dared and asked his question. How do you get to be a demon? Clive laughed.
A demon?
Geoffrey looked up into the face of his master. Yes, master. I want to be like you. Clive punched Geoffrey in the face.
Don't look at me, you stinking asshole. Did I say you could look at me?
As if summoned by Clive's anger, fire swept through the cavern and consumed them both, though only Geoffrey burned. He screamed, and Clive came around behind him and climbed onto his back. The firestorm passed, and Clive, his flesh smoking but unharmed, leaned in close to Geoffrey's ear.
You want to be like me, do you?
Yes. Geoffrey's tears steamed over his freshly burned flesh. Yes, master.
Why?
Because you don't burn. You don't suffer. None of the demons do. I've seen how all of you demons, you inflict pain, but you never seem to feel any. And I've been thinking, if I am to be damned for all time, then I'd like to be like you. A demon, a master, a bringer of pain rather than a receiver of it.
You think we don't suffer, my pretty fool?
Clive gave a low, humourless cackle.
Oh, we suffer. Not quite in the same way as you do, granted, but we suffer nonetheless. And when we have endured our suffering, we come out looking for wankers like you, so we might take our pain and anger out on your wretched carcasses. Your suffering makes us feel better again. Your pain is our soothing balm. And as they say in the mortal world, shit rolls downhill. It's a popular ethos of those who come to hell. And as I recall, you yourself were a great advocate of that practice in life. Rolling your shit downhill. A bully, using your position to make the lives of your juniors, shall we say, less comfortable.
I'm sorry.
For what? For being a bully? What about all the other things? Your sexual appetite for young girls. The younger the better. Oh, that was of course your final undoing. A heart attack while fucking a poor child prostitute.
Clive chuckled.
Oh, you despicable hound.
Forgive me, master.
Forgive?
Clive laughed.
It is not my place to forgive, shitty man. It is only my place to punish. I personally applaud such behavior. It seasons the soul and adds a certain delicious...
He sniffed at Geoffrey's face and head.
Piquancy.
Geoffrey cringed away from him, but Clive seized him by the ears and pulled him forwards.
Come now, Geoffrey Leach. Don't be coy. You should be proud of your life. Your physical and psychological abuse of others was genuinely entertaining.
Clive stroked